What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Apartment 113 podcast, where we talk with cool folks in the cannabis and psychedelics industry to learn about their projects and celebrate their successes. My name is Rob Sanchez, and this is episode 50. We're joined today by the COO of the House of Puff, Holly Hager. The House of Puff is a women-owned and Latina-led New York City company working to replace the stigma of cannabis with empowerment. They design and curate everyday luxury smoking accessories for the modern consumer while supporting and celebrating female artists along the way. Their range of products include high-quality ashtrays, hemp wicks holders, ceramic one-hitters, rolling trays, match strikers, and more. Experience a new approach to a refined lifestyle and find out more at houseofpuff.com. Enjoy the show. Holly, thank you for joining us today.
Rob, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation for sure. I've found myself on your site and seeing the Instagram posts of several times, kind of following the connoisseurship tags and the smoking accessories and, luxury cannabis goods. So it's going to be excellent to talk shop a little bit and learn how the House of Puff was really built.
Yeah. Well, we love talking about it because it's been a really wonderful journey for both of us.
How many years has the company been established?
Christina started it when she was on bed rest while she was pregnant with her twins because, she didn't have enough to do. So she was already running one company on bed rest and decided to start another one. So that was back in 2017.
Wow.
And it took her a while just sort of building up and trying to figure it out. And the whole genesis of the company was that we were both in the art world. She tried cannabis for the first time in her late 20s only. And she always says she loved the experience immediately, but she hated the disgusting, dirty bong that her then boyfriend, husband, gave it to her in. So she went down to, we live in New York, so she went down to St. Mark's, which is kind of where the paraphernalia mecca. And, and she kept looking for something that, as a stylish woman and an art collector and all of that she could really embrace. And she was like, ew, I don't like any of this. So she reached out to her network of artists at the time, and that and one of the artists created her a ceramic one-hitter called La Pipe, which is still our bestseller, our hero product.
Oh, so that was the original product as well. Awesome. Yeah. And you said she tried cannabis the first time in her late 20s. How about you, Holly?
I tried it in college like most people do. I think it wouldn't have been good for me, but I would have been a way happier high schooler, more well-adjusted had I found it then. But and then I was just haphazard for years. I would I didn't buy my own a lot. Partly because of the illicit market. It was very hard for me to find kind of the right kind of cannabis for me.
Because you kind of get the luck of the draw going the illicit side. You never really know, first of all, if it's going to fall more on that indica or upper sativa range, and then also the quality on the illicit side could be a wave.
And I'm a big lightweight, so although I'm a daily user, I definitely use, once I really got the hang of it and figured out what kind was right for me and what dose was right for me. But that for me was really driven quite late in my life, in my 40s, when I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease.
Oh, okay.
So it was, and unfortunately, the one that I have, which has a very long name that no one's ever heard of, there's no real good treatment. All the treatments, in fact, have so many side effects that they're worse than the actual disease in ways. So
Oh man,
yeah,
yes.
it's a real drag. And so before I got in the New York medical program and started using it every day, I was on 8 big pharma drugs a day. And a lot of them
Wow.
had, and those didn't even have the worst side effects, but they all had pretty bad side effects. And once I found cannabis, now depending on where I'm at with my health, I'm either just on 2 or 3 big pharma drugs a day and cannabis.
Oh wow. So you're able to cut out over 50% of them.
Oh yeah, like 3/4 of them.
Wow.
It
Yes, that's a
really
great story.
made a massive difference in my health, and I'm so much healthier than I ever was when I was doing the big pharma route.
Right. You feel healthier and
Oh
kind of
my God,
feel
yeah.
more energy.
Yeah, and I don't, I, the way that my disease works, you get these flares, and that can be literally, it can take your health down in a downward spiral very quickly, and that you don't recover from for weeks or months.
Oh wow. Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it can be really rough, but I haven't had that problem basically since about 6 months into getting on the New York medical program, which was like 8 years ago.
Man, that is
It's,
quite a story too. Yeah, that's a long
yeah.
time without any like flare-ups or any instances there.
Yeah, I mean, I have an occasional flare, but nothing like I sometimes I would
Nothing that's going to
spend
put you down for a week or
no,
so.
no,
Yeah.
no, nothing that where like I was bedridden sometimes for months, and I just
Wow.
that just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, let's keep you on your feet, right?
Yes,
And
I'm happy.
creating. And
Exactly, and I'm a very driven person, so that just drove me crazy to not be able to perform and
oh
to.
man, isn't that yeah, that's the worst too. And it sounds like the founder as well, Christina, was feeling that way in her bed rest.
Yeah,
You're just spinning out
exactly.
companies while you're supposed to be recovering and
Right,
you're
right.
you're entrepreneurialing.
Yeah, yeah. We both are very similar that way. So
Before the company got started, you mentioned that you guys were in the art world and had crossed paths once or twice. Were you focusing on specific mediums or styles of art,
we
periods of
both.
art, or
Yeah, Christina had an art magazine, and I had an art website that was meant, and both the real rationale behind both of our products was to make art more relatable and bring art to more of the general populace, because the art world can be a pretty unwelcoming place, but people
yeah,
need
it kind of
art.
comes with a territory on connoisseurship, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly. But people need art, and I mean, there's a reason that people say a picture says 1,000 words, because you can communicate something emotionally to someone through an image that it's much harder to communicate verbally. So that's what both of us were really driven by, the idea of trying to bring art to a wider audience, and also to make the art world more inclusive, to, you know, bring really great women artists and BIPOC artists to the fore, which and that was why actually I was finding it was like Sisyphus pushing a rock up a hill and having it come back and smack me every day. It was really hard because a lot of the art world doesn't want that.
they
So
kind of like that level of understanding, the nuance they can appreciate in the art. I mean, it's hard to introduce connoisseurship because it has no bounds, right?
yeah,
As you start to get deeper, or as you know more and more artists, you can see references and influences, and maybe how a hand was drawn kind of changes your whole perspective on what the artist was actually doing or what they know, versus a layman like myself might say like, wow, look at this. This is
yeah.
a good picture of the beach. And I don't really have the understanding maybe to say like, okay, this is pulling from XYZ, or look at this origin of the art that they've kind of changed. That's
Exactly.
the level I love to read about, and see like really why is this art lauded as being so challenging or innovative, but it's one that I don't really see with that lens, and that is kind of the problem in the cannabis space too, because there's so much knowledge on the connoisseurship side when it comes to terpenes and cannabinoids, or like the consumption methods themselves. There's a lot to learn that we don't want people to feel that it's being gate kept, even though it's not. It's just a lot of knowledge. So kind of providing people that leg up or that entry is really a noble act, I think, bringing them connoisseurship.
Yeah, and to be honest, both in art and in cannabis, that's really my passion. I taught history at Fordham for a bit, and I
Ooh,
loved
cool.
loved teaching. But so I take that with me into everything that I do, and so much of my art company and what I did when I was in the art world was sort of being that translator, having the real connoisseurship myself, and being a very passionate collector, and really trying to grasp, get my arms around the entirety of the nuance, but then breaking it down in writing to other people in a way that just focuses on the why of what's happening, and makes it accessible to them, because people need both art and cannabis.
Yes, yeah, and I think that there's a level of appreciation that comes with art or with connoisseurship that you can't quite put in words. But as you bring someone up in their education, they start to find their own kind of stepping stones down that path. And I think it's a very interesting conversation having you guys on with the art background. As I was recently doing some research on connoisseurship in general, on where did this term come from, for this awareness and attention to detail. And I found that it actually comes from art. It comes from the Renaissance.
Yep.
And it was like Bernard Berenson that was doing some writing and trying to distinguish what's the logic to truly appreciate something as good, and trying to really put that in words. So I've been reading some old articles by that dude and some other guys in art history to understand that kind of bend.
Yeah, and I mean, it does make a huge difference. The more you know, the more you appreciate. At the same time, you can't hit someone who's new to either art or cannabis with all that at
It's like a
first.
fire hose of knowledge, and it just
Yeah,
doesn't feel fun.
no, it's really unpleasant. So instead, you want to, and that's a lot of what we do at House of Puff, is to bring people along in a way that's super relatable. That's, especially as legalization is coming along. There are a lot more customers who are out there who they're never going to get to a point of connoisseurship. They just want something that's effective for them, that they like.
Right.
And
Help with
so,
sleep or help with an ailment, kind of add a little bit of euphoria to their evening if they need it, that kind of thing.
exactly. And so a lot of our products are, they make it that cannabis isn't your identity. It doesn't have to be identity defining anymore. It can be just, it's a great part of your life. Just like, I like to have a cocktail. I like to have a glass of wine, but my whole life doesn't revolve around that. And so,
Right.
and I'll actually give you a bit of an exclusive, that we are actually coming out with our very first THC product at the
Ooh,
end of the
awesome.
month. Yeah,
Very cool.
and it's called the Spritz. And we came up with a form factor that is very easy. It's just a spray, sublingual, and I actually have a sample I can show you. It looks like a lip gloss.
Oh, nice. So it's not it's something that you wouldn't be surprised to find in the purse or in the makeup bag.
Exactly, or in a guy's pocket, frankly.
That's a small form factor to take it with you. I like that.
Exactly, and it's also the anytime, anywhere form factor where, for me, with my disease the way it is, I needed something like, I often need daytime help. And unfortunately, I can't work if I'm really, really stoned. So I
It's
need,
not the right time to roll up or smoke a bowl.
exactly, exactly. Like, I can do that at night. Plus, my disease affects my lungs. So for me, smoking is not
Ah,
the best thing.
yes, that's
Much,
key.
right? But usually when I buy a sublingual, a tincture, it's a super high potency. And hey, that's like, there's nothing I want more than total body numbing,
To
like
get there.
pain
Yeah.
killing relaxation at night, and to knock out at night. But I can't do that during the day. But I need pain relief sometimes. And so this is a form factor, or like if I'm in a movie theater or if I'm at
Right.
dinner.
There's
This is
many venues where it's just, even
Smoking
if
is not possible.
right,
And you
even if
don't
it
want
is
to
like
wait.
accepting, It's just, it would be so faux pas to light up in the theater or in
Right.
certain restaurants, right?
Exactly. Even if it's legal. I mean, and there's still like hotels often have no smoking, no vaping signs and stuff like that. And I travel a lot. So it's just that easy form factor that you can use anywhere, anytime, and that is very friendly and easy for new people and also great for daily users like me.
Yes, I mean, it's hard for me sometimes to be that new person. I'm kind of biased from just years of being inundated with it all, but every once in a while I have to zoom way out, and it's just, I can't imagine how easy that would be now, just saying, hey, just start with a tincture, start with a spray. Just, you don't actually need a lighter or a grinder or a pipe. It's just
Right.
try
No
this out
paraphernalia. It's
experience
just
the effects maybe before you hack up a lung or have to work on that inhalation aspect.
yeah. And it took me a while. I'll be honest with you. I mean, initially when I started, I smoked, but then I knew it wasn't so good for my lungs. But now I'm at that place where, okay, I have my different form factors for different things,
Kind
right?
of different occasion kind of thing. I see.
Yeah, you want to knock out at night, or if it's a Saturday and you just want to giggle through movies all day, there's an edible for me. But
Yes.
if I've worked too late and I need instant pain relief, then I'm gonna use our one hitter at La Pipe and
And actually have a bowl or just get that
exactly.
effect quick. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But what's great about this spritz that we've come out with is that it hits in like 15, 20 minutes. So
Wow.
it's kind of that perfect middle ground with not having to wait for the edible, but at the same time getting almost instant gratification and also having the sort of control that you have when you smoke of dosing.
Yes. Which you can kind of lose at times with edibles, not knowing what your cookie really
Yeah, you
is.
can.
I've run
Especially
into
if you're
some,
trying something new.
right. True. You don't even know what it is. It's saying 10 milligrams and that doesn't mean anything yet.
Right. It could be a strain mixture that completely does not agree with you. And then you're stuck for hours.
Riding it out.
Yeah, yeah. Which we've all been there. It's no fun.
Yes, yeah, it's the change from kind of combusting to more relying on tinctures or other methods is something that I'm kind of experiencing right now. And I have a young daughter in the house, so I kind of changed my routine and started focusing on that as well. And I think almost it is the instant gratification part that's the hardest to change. It's not really that I enjoyed taking the dab. I think it's just that the high was like fast, that now I have these tinctures and edibles and I kind of, twiddle my thumbs, sort of like, well, I guess I'll find something to do for an hour. And I mean, it does work. It's just more of an act of patience and kind of working on the willpower side of things.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I think, as the science gets better and legalization increases, I think we're going to have a lot more form factors that, have combined that kind of hit that sweet spot in between.
Yes. Yeah. You said something earlier that I wrote down. I think it's going to have to be our quote of the show. And that's that cannabis doesn't have to be an identity or like identifying you, right? It's just a part of
Identity.
life. It's a part of
Yeah.
your wellness.
Yeah.
I like that so much. I think that's key that people start seeing that as a possibility. It's not that you have to go full on and grow your dreadlocks and start wearing tie-dye or looking like me just to appreciate the cannabis. It's there for you to use in your health and wellness routine to kind of find that sustenance or the value you need out of it.
Exactly. Well, and while I am a New Yorker at heart and always will be, my husband's office is in Connecticut, and so he moved me up to Connecticut a few years ago, and I'll never be
I
from
see.
Connecticut. But I've
Just
now
residing within Connecticut.
exactly. But it's a very sort of affluent and upper crusty, mainstream kind of building that I live in. But once people find out what business I'm in, all these women take me aside and they're like, "Hey, Holly, I heard you're in the cannabis business. Could you tell me what to get? Could you help me? I really want to try it." And these are women in their 50s and 60s usually, who maybe tried it in college, but it was that same thing. They were at the mercy of whatever they could get. And now, like, if they can have someone help them and just give them a few cues about how to get into it, they're so thrilled and so grateful, and they become daily users because
Right. They just kind of need that little bit of step or a little bit of guidance, and especially finding it from someone that they can relate to, or someone who's, technically like living with them or living in the neighborhood. I think it feels safer, I think, for lack of better words, to have that conversation. And that's what's needed. I think, I think about my aunts, and many of them are perfectly confident and outgoing enough to walk into a dispensary and figure it out themselves. But a few, I can think that they just wouldn't be right to go into the dispensary. They really need maybe that talk all the way there, and maybe someone even in there with them, or a video or some kind of information kind of guiding their path.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're aware actually, but during the pandemic, we really focused on video content. And I don't know if you've seen, we have our YouTube channel is banging. We've now surpassed 3.2 million views. And
Wow, nice job, guys. Yeah, I saw that at home with House of Puff.
Yep, and I, having been a teacher, I write them and help produce them, and then Christina performs them, and she's
Oh wow, you guys are the
relatable.
perfect pair.
Yeah, and she's so relatable, and like we get the comment all the time. I never thought I'd see a woman like you using cannabis. And I'm so relieved. I can't believe the world has changed so much. This is awesome. People really are ready to destigmatize, but they just don't necessarily know how.
Right, and what a footprint with the video content there. Over 3 million views. How is it to jump on that treadmill of media creation? Did you feel pressure to keep creating the next video, or are you guys taking kind of a laid back approach to the content schedule?
I mean, we're a very small but very hardworking team, and I'll be honest with you, we started out shooting them during the pandemic on my iPhone.
Okay, wow,
I was editing them on iMovie. I mean, we now have a
That's
professional
awesome.
crew,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's always pressure to create more, and it's so it's so gratifying to get all the comments and have people be so excited and get
To
all
see
the
that appreciation, huh?
yeah, and really build a community. And it's interesting. We have the viewers on our channel, our demo. We have people from every age group, mainly the 18 to 34 slot, but we have people in their 60s, and it's interesting because those older consumers and viewers are actually more vocal online about what they like and what, asking questions. And I answer all those questions on YouTube. That's one of my things. And I always I will do all the math for them to make an edible. We're so thrilled to get it out there and bring it to other people that it's really wonderful. I mean, that's kind of our whole point is to elevate through the accessories and through this new product that we're bringing out. It's all about elevating the experience so that people feel really comfortable no matter who they are.
Right. I think that's and that's definitely noticeable in the range of products, and kind of in the styling and the design. They feel like items that you would find on the shelf, or you would find on the coffee table. Maybe some artful like knickknacks, for lack of better words, right on the shelves, like showing like jars or incense holders. I think this all feels perfectly at home with that, where it doesn't have the spoon pipe, varying colors, or it's the tall bong with ice catchers and everything else to it. There's a time and place for that, but the simplicity here, and the kind of the aspect that you're putting off with the photography and the story with the House of Puff, I think really gets everything firing at the same time. Are there a few adjectives that you would use to describe the style that the House of Puff is trying to embody in their products?
Yeah, inclusive, unapologetic,
Definitely.
mainstream.
Yeah, it's just
So that basically we want everybody to feel comfortable using cannabis. They're and I got to tell you, speaking of your aunts, I was terrified the first time I walked into a dispensary because I looked different than everybody else. And I was like, and I didn't know anything really. And I felt so dumb and asking, like, I was like, are they going to think I'm an idiot because I'm asking these questions? Because I had no idea what an indica or sativa was. I hadn't, terpenes, schmerpenes. I just didn't
Just right
have a
into the deep
clue,
end.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I tend to, if I like something, I tend to really go deep. And so, now I know my myrcene from my pinene and things like that. But
Awesome. Yeah.
not everybody's gonna wanna.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
a good
where
point
we
too,
want to
right?
create
That
that bridge.
yes. Yeah. So it kind of bridges the gap for you, providing those luxury products that get the job done. I think it's important to point out that connoisseurship aspect, as nice as it is, and as fun of a conversation it is to talk about what it means and where it came from, it's not actually necessary. It's happening in the background as you do your things, and as you use a piece or just curate what you like.
Yeah.
Are the materials used mostly ceramic for the pieces then, or are you experimenting with other types of
Oh,
products as well?
yeah, we do ceramic, glass, and paper. So
Okay.
the difference with our company, probably from most companies, is that everything we do starts in the artist studio. So I head up production actually, and we'll either I can show you, it's easier even though it's a podcast. Um, when we make new papers, these are artist series papers, and we license a work from an artist, and
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, and we put it on the rolling papers because what's better than lighting up and immediately having something visual to stimulate your thinking and to take you to a beautiful place, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely, and giving another place to kind of let that artist shine,
Yeah,
where maybe
exactly.
their
Bringing
piece
their
would
work,
exist in a collection.
exactly, bringing that work to people who wouldn't necessarily otherwise see it, and like this is from a New York artist, and it's called Cliteracy, which is kind of
Ah,
brilliant, right?
yeah, I'm
And
looking
then,
at closer now.
yeah, and then all of our artist collabs for the papers, they have a give back component. So
Excellent.
yeah, so this one goes to benefit Housing Works,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
their support for the LGBTQIA community over the years. We have another one that goes. It's by an artist named Chris Wilson, and his work is about it's visual diary of how he got through 117 days of solitary confinement.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's
that's
a really
awesome.
beautiful work, but and it's a very hopeful work that he calls it positive delusions. Like that's how he kept himself like in
Yeah, that's
a mental
powerful.
state. Yeah, to get through that. And then the give back on that goes to an organization called Solitary Watch, which is looking to eradicate solitary confinement in the U.S.
Ah,
So yeah, so
man.
there's
So,
there's those kind of collabs on our papers, and then with our glass and with our ceramics, we hire artists, and I work really closely with them, but I give them a ton of leeway as far as, hey, this is what kind of like we wanted to make a joint holder because it was the pandemic, and we thought, people aren't going to puff pass so much. So
right.
let's make a way that they can puff pass and like take the joint out of their holder and put it in somebody else's holder. And so they don't have to. By the way, that's another thing we love about the spritz. You can share it without
Yes. Yeah.
no issues, right? No germy
You either
issues.
have to go a joint to each in the circle, or you gotta have to get a little more creative.
Yeah, or you each have a holder and you just put the joint in the different holders, and that way
That's
you're
pretty cool. Yeah, I
right. You're
saw
okay.
those cigarette holders on there, and they are very artfully done. They got very nice, sleek lines and kind of body to them. I also really like the color palette that you
Thank
guys
you.
have selected across the products. Seems to, I'd imagine anyone could find one or two colors along those lines that they could relate to, or that are kind of talking to them a little more than the others. I think for me, the bourgeois black, it looks very
Oh, there
sleek.
you
I
go.
really like
Nice.
that. Looking at the wick holder and the rolling tray, it looks very sleek and clean. And then I saw the I'm gonna probably butcher this, the gentileschi green.
Yeah,
It's like a
Artemisia gentileschi. We name all of our colors after women artists who were hoping
okay. I saw
to
that the O'Keeffe camellia too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Cool.
that green is just beautiful, and it's funny because, of course, we started, a woman-owned company. Really, it started with Christina making products for herself, and then we assumed that most of our customers were women. But I am a big old nerd, and I like my analytics. So actually, 40% of our customers are men, and
I believe it.
because
Yeah.
right, they're just adult products, and we always try also to focus on the most I can't say the word healthy, but the least unhealthy option. So like our papers are unbleached hemp,
Right.
right? And we try to get organic paper. We don't want any pesticides. We don't ever put ink on them. As pretty as we've tried to find an ink that we're sure won't hurt anybody to inhale, but we haven't been able to find it yet. And
It's
same
difficult.
with, yeah, with like all of our other products, we're always trying to think about what's the least unhealthy way that you can consume, no matter which method of consumption whether it's combustion or not, that you decide
Yes.
to consume with.
Definitely. Yeah. I'd love to see that coming from the brand and kind of from the top down. That's wonderful. I think that
Absolutely.
the industry gets a little ahead of itself convincing folks to smoke and convincing folks to consume, and sooner or later they're daily or regular consumers. And I think it's only for folks that have been in the game per se longer, that have been consuming for like a decade, who start to worry about their health, who start to pay attention maybe to their combustion or their inhalation. And I think
Right.
that the industry might not be focusing on that as much yet. They're making all these new consumers, but these new consumers are going to need that same kind of long-term support to keep going and stay healthy.
Totally. And I mean, that's for me because I came to it from a health
Health actually
came to
drove
it,
you
yeah,
there.
from a
Yeah.
perspective of trying to solve a health problem. I'm always, because I got enough health problems. I don't need any more.
You don't want to tack something onto the bottom of the list.
Exactly. So we're always trying to think of what's that healthy way, and what's that environmentally friendly way that we can do it. While that's not our first priority, we're really driven by that.
Yes. Yeah. What is the newest product on the site then? Is it the cigarette holder that came out most recently?
Nope. Actually, it is our match strikers. We
Okay.
realized that because we haven't wanted to do a lighter because it just doesn't
Can't.
feel like it's not going to be handmade. It's not going to start in the artist studio. And we do have commercial production, but we start in the artist studio. We have them make it, and then we transfer it to commercial production. So a
Okay.
lot of our things are still handmade, though. So the Match Striker just came out before Christmas, and it's a way to combust. It's beautiful. The matches coordinate. They're the same color as the holder, and we even thought, well, some people, there's safety matches that we send with it. And I don't know if you smoke a lot, you probably know the difference between safety matches and strike anywhere matches.
Right. It's a little harder to get those safety ones going off your thumbnail, right?
Yeah, well, they won't because they need phosphorus in order to burn.
So
So
then the phosphorus on the bottom, or is it on the
we
sides?
stuck a phosphorus strike plate on the bottom. But if you want to substitute with strike anywhere matches, you can also, there's a rough spot to be a striker on the ceramic holder. So we
Kind
just
of a
try
ring of unfinished or of rough ceramic.
exactly. And if you
Yeah, that's
notice,
perfect for it.
I'm not sure if you picked up on it, but it's the silhouette of a woman.
Let me
The
open it
shape of
again.
the holder it's
Yes,
like an
I can, and
abstract female form.
there is a feminine energy throughout most of the products. I can tell for sure. I was explaining the sleekness of the cigarette holder. In hindsight, caught my eye is the same silhouette. The curves and the hips of the
Yeah.
products. You can see that throughout. I think that's awesome to be able to not only preach and discuss the identity, but to actually act on that and have it represented in all of your products is something that many brands could struggle with for years. It's always hard to do that. So it seems like you guys are are really getting it across the line there. And I'll be taking a look at the gift sets here after this to see what comes in black. We'll have to try to get some reviews up for folks listening.
And you know what? If you wanted something custom, I could always hook you up.
Ooh, you guys
I know
heard it here. We
people.
might have some apartment 113 stuff.
There you go.
So
Yeah,
what
and
else
actually,
is?
it didn't come out with black until very recently. That was just last summer. We finally came out with black.
Yeah, I think the dark forest green, the white, and then the black just looks very contrasting in all the photos. I think that it looks striking there from my perspective. I will say the rolling tray also is very eye-catching. For folks listening, you got to check it out on thehouseofpuff.com. The tray is ceramic and kind of built like the letter, like a capital M. And it gives it this kind of smooth flowing, almost like a waterfall counter, like in a kitchen, because this same tiling is just coming down the sides. I think it's definitely speaks for itself and would look good on a tray or with your kit in arsenal.
Can I tell you the story of it? Because
Definitely.
it has a good story. Christina went to Amsterdam, and she was a very new smoker at the time. And the guy in the coffee shop saw that she was having a really hard time rolling. And so he brought her over a Pepto-Bismol pink, ugly plastic version of that tray and said, here, stick the dip of your paper into the dip of the tray, and it'll keep your mix in there so it's more in the middle so that you can roll easier. So
She actually had some benefit from that tool, but it was not a pretty tool.
right. So she came back, and that was the tray that I bought when I became a House of Puff customer. That was my first one, yeah. And so she came back and had an artist make it, and it does make rolling so much easier. And it's also very beautiful. So we love that
Statement
tray.
piece, I think. I'm all about the kind of building up the kit. When you're rolling, I've got like a few grinders I select from, maybe different pieces I'll throw on there for the time being, some different trays I've got. So I think that just from the like kind of fun, the collector aspect, there's so much to be had from this level of products and a kind of wide range of variety.
Yeah, we keep saying to people like, shouldn't you have a pipe that matches your outfit?
Yes, right.
Like,
If you're already accessorizing head to toe and
exactly.
matched
They're
out,
accessories, yeah. Or I mean, certainly you want them to match your home decor. And if you're a connoisseur, you might, like as you're saying, you've built up your kit, so you have different accessories for different moods or different kinds of sessions, and that's great.
yes, yeah, and that ritual that you get rolling and really preparing consumed cannabis is unbeatable. There's something just about the origami nature of just spending some quiet time with your product before you consume it, and having solid products to work with as well is just another way to level up. I love
Yeah,
to see it.
exactly.
What's next for the House of Puff this year? Are you guys attending any conferences? Making your way out of New York State, or is it more focused on the East Coast right now for brick and mortar?
Well, right now, because we're launching the spritz at the end of this month in New York, it's a New York product. We're really focused on the New York market right now, which it's been a struggle, but it
Yes, we're
is.
almost there.
Yeah, exactly. It is the largest weed market in the world, and it's definitely going to come along. So we're really going to be focused over the next few months on launching. I mean, it's really special to us. It's our first THC product. And it's also, there's more cannabinoids. Like we have two of them, and one's called Serenity Spritz, and one is called Social Spritz.
Nice.
So
Kind of
you know,
hitting both ends. A
yeah,
little bit heavier for the Serenity.
yeah, exactly. One's really going to relax you. The other one's going to, put you in more of a mood to be with friends, maybe take care of those social butterflies if you have any.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's really our focus for the next few months is rolling that out for the first time, and like the Serenity Spritz has it's 1 to 1 THC, CBD, and CBN.
Ooh, okay.
And yeah, and then social is 2 to 1 THC to CBD. Um,
Okay.
s- Yeah, so you're getting different effects, and we want to make them, our THC products, we want to make them really easy to use, and understandable, but also take advantage of our connoisseurship and be able to make those blends. Like I mean, your average person is not going to know what CBN is, but
Yeah,
I've
unless they've been doing their YouTube research.
Yeah, exactly. But I've had such good luck with it personally that I really push to have it included in the Serenity, because it doesn't necessarily knock you out unless you have a higher dose, but at a microdose, it just really does, whew, bring that calm into your life, and that's a
Kind
lovely
of
thing.
ease any anxiety or just put a little softer edge on it, at least for the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent. Are there specific shops where the spritz will be available, or are you targeting a few different ones here?
Yeah, it's going to be available across the market. I'm not allowed to say exactly who our first retail
More
partner
information
is
coming
yet.
soon.
But yeah, it will be available across the state, certainly in New York City, and in other locations with dispensary partners. So we're just really
Excellent.
excited to move finally to be able to touch the plant, and to bring the same kind of sort of care and sensitivity that we've brought to accessories to a THC product.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to see how that goes for you all. And I'll be keeping an eye on the shop as well and all the social channels to see how the product line develops. I'll be definitely bringing some things in-house so listeners can look forward to a review or two and some better pictures as well from my side. I'll upgrade my tray that just has weeds spread everywhere, and it'll be looking like this nice artistic
There you go.
portfolio now.
And you don't have to put it away when grandma comes over.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a vase. You just lay your flower horizontal.
Exactly. Exactly. Or it's a toothpick holder.
Yes, and actually, I use these metal bolt action pins that I constantly lose. So I could see
Put it
resting
on
the
your
pin there
desk.
on the desk and keeping some things close by.
There you
I got
go.
a bad habit of walking away with it.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, all of our products are always multifunctional. So that's one of the things and that's part of the normalizing, right? You can use any of our products, they're food safe, so you could use them to serve food on your table.
I could
And
see some of the ashtrays or even the rolling tray being perfect for certain
exactly, a
dishes.
charcuterie board,
Oh
or
yeah.
olives, whatever.
Yep.
And that just makes it feel like, oh, well, this is normal. This isn't something like, I remember, for years I had this really ugly plastic blue bong that was, big,
Got the job done.
yeah, it got the job done. It was great, but I had to hide it anytime anybody came over because I was kind of embarrassed of it.
Yes. Yeah. These are pieces that you can be proud of, right? Even tell the story.
Exactly.
It's excellent. It looks like it's time to find one more female artist to represent the color portfolio, as I was looking for a Chief's red, a very bright, fiery red, and I
Oh,
see the
really?
camellia and then the pink orchid. So I have to keep that in mind if you come up with another one.
I have to tell you that red is just difficult for us because red is made, and now I'm going to get really nerdy. Red's made from cadmium, and that is a toxin. So,
Oh, I see.
yeah,
Okay.
so that's why we don't have a red pipe. That's why we don't have a lot of red in the palette, because it would
That
be
makes
too
sense.
unhealthy.
That's awesome. In that case, don't let some poor artist draw the short straw and be
Yeah,
on the
there you go.
cadmium infused products.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
So,
you guys know what you're doing.
but at some point I'll figure it out.
No, that's a good thing to work on in the lab.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Holly, for the conversation today and telling us a little bit about the House of Puff. Where can folks connect with you, Christina, and the company?
Well, there's definitely our Instagram, which is at the House of Puff. Then there's our YouTube, if that's your preferred. I'm a YouTubeaholic, so that's definitely my preferred medium. That's at home with House of Puff. We also have a great editorial site where you can find recipes and stuff like that. That's the drawingroom.blog, as in
Okay.
to draw. And then, of course, there's our website, houseofpuff.com. And, if someone has questions for me, I'm old school, so just shoot me an email at holly@houseofpuff.com.
Hey, excellent. Yeah, thank you again, and we'll look forward to seeing what else comes from the House of Puff here this year.
Great. Such a pleasure, Rob.
Thank you for listening to the Apartment 113 podcast. For more information about the show, along with our services and courses, visit apt113.com. We offer cannabis software product management, cannabis education courses, and freelance writing. With over a decade of experience in the cannabis industry, Apartment 113 is here to help.